का सानी ना हुसैन का सानी.
How's everyone that you're listening to? And we are live on Facebook and YouTube. And we're going to be chatting with ML Bilal Kathrada once again, all around the importance for parents to tech. We're talking about coding and tech for parents. So, urban women, urban men, listen up because we do know the importance of mastering tech for parents in today's fast paced, technology driven world. Parents face the unique challenge of raising children in an environment dominated by digital devices, online platforms, and ever evolving tech advancements. I mean, there's even cyberbullying. If we thought bullying at school was one thing, now there's cyberbullying. How do you handle all of those things? How do you manage the risk that is out there or are out there? How do you actually cultivate a safe environment? How do you manage screen time and so much more? That's what we're actually going to be discussing in this segment. So you can join us live on Facebook and on YouTube. Assalamu alaikum, Maulana Bilal, and welcome back to Urban Women.
Walaikum salam, and it's a pleasure to be here as always.
Alhamdulillah, very important topic in our contemporary times, especially as parents. As we mentioned, previously, it's so easy to just hand the device to the children, take it, you're out of my hair, so to say. But we also touched on the fact that with everything, there is good and bad, right? With everything. And it's all about how can we cultivate into the positive aspects and allow our children to grow, because you can't tell a child, don't do that. I mean, we ourselves are so plugged into devices nowadays that I think when we go to bed, it's the first thing or the last thing that we put down, first thing we pick up when our eyes open. So it's part of everybody's lives. Now, specifically with regards to our children, I think it's so important that we also understand that there are potential online risks. As parents, we always want to protect our children. So when it comes to the potential online risk, Mulana, what do you have to share with us, and how could we possibly mitigate this as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, online gadget-related risks actually sit on a continuum. Everything from meh, not so bad, to really disastrous, right? And it's very easy for anybody to fall anywhere within this continuum. So it could be something as, in my opinion, something as seemingly mundane as a child just spending a few hours watching innocent short form videos. Now, would most people, that's okay, the child is quiet, that's cool. For me, that's a negative. That's a bad thing, because that's time wasted. It's time that could have been used for something productive. It's time spent being a passive consumer of content rather than learning how to create something. On the opposite end of the scale, it's, as you said, there's some unpleasant things that they can watch and download, and of course there's cyberbullying. Now those are the other end of the scale. What we need to do as parents is to understand what these potential risks are and what level they fall under, and how to identify that my child is getting involved in something or the other. Now, with most parents I speak to, they have the same concern that we are not so clued up with all this tech that these kids are using. How do we keep up? Let me tell you something. I'm a software engineer by profession, right? I create apps and I teach people how to create apps. I produce other software engineers. I also struggle to keep up.
Talking about
with
technology. We disconnected for a bit.
Yeah, I think it's a signal issue here. So it's nothing embarrassing. It's nothing bad to feel like you are left out. Today, when I look at kids and the kind of tech they are using and their proficiency with tech, even I sometimes have to go up to my sons and say, "Hey guys, I don't know how to do this. Help me out." So if you feel like you are not quite clued up, don't feel bad about it. The thing is, we need to just keep learning and we need to keep growing. You need to have the growth mindset, right? And keep learning so that you can keep up with what's going on with tech. And you hit it on the nail earlier, Razia, when you said that you can't just pull that tech away from children. And there's two reasons for that. The one reason is, if you as a parent, and we spoke about this last week, if you as a parent are going to pull it away and deprive them of that, trust me, they're going to go somewhere else and get that tech, number one. And number two, the long-term harm of this is you are depriving them of work opportunities, of opportunities to learn technology for their growth. Because today, like we discussed last week, pretty much
Yeah.
every career you can think of is technology. I mean, you are a radio presenter, but look at
Mhm.
us, we are talking over the internet as if we are in the same room. It's amazing how technology is advancing and what kind of opportunities it's presenting for earning a business, earning an income, for doing business, for growth. It's amazing. So I think,
If I may just interject here, as
yeah,
you're saying that, what comes to mind is I have a cousin who's actually a maxillofacial therapist, subhanAllah, and she's like nowhere on social media. When I say nowhere, no Instagram, no Facebook, nothing. And I said, that's amazing. There's no data on you whatsoever. And she says, do you think it's amazing? Because when I go for jobs, what the first thing they're asking me is, what's your social credits like? And for me, that was news, and I had no idea there was such a thing as social credit. So you actually being rewarded the more you are out there now. And such is the time we're looking at now that you're touching on work opportunities.
absolutely, and it's crucial. I just had a interview on my webinar with an IT professional, and he said the exact same thing. He said, if you are not out there, you are nowhere. Nobody's going to find you. Nobody's going to trust you. That's just the way the world is today.
That's true. Eh? We kind of trust what we read about somebody, ironically, but it is the way it is. So that's how we have to obviously go. And as you said, cultivate them, encourage them. It's almost like if you're going to school. School has its pros and cons as well, but the benefits of that. Now, you mentioned something very important. I think we all struggle with this as parents, with regards to screen time. How much is enough, and how do we set those boundaries then? What's your advice to us as parents?
So I was reading the Quran this morning, and I came across the example of Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son Ismail alayhi salam. The whole Udhiyah example, and something occurred to me that here's a father who went up to his son and said, "Look, I think I have to slaughter you," and the son was, "Okay, if it's Allah's hukam, I'm ready for it." But today it seems like there's an opposite mindset, where parents are afraid to even go and tell kids that I think you need to cut down. I think you need to sacrifice your time with this gadget, with this device. For some reason, we are afraid. Maybe there's a power shift in the home where the children are now
Yeah.
where they are calling the shot. So my first appeal to parents is take control, get back in the control seat, and put limits down and say, look, this is a privilege, this is not a right. You're going to use this device X amount of time every day or only on weekends if you if you achieve certain things. Your chores are done, your homework is done, you've done well at school, etc. I will give you this. That's one. The second thing is, I think when the child is using the gadget, when the child is on the internet, be a part of that experience. Last week we spoke about additive parenting, where you become a part of your child's experience, and you are opening up experiences for her using technology. What kind of experiences? Coding, language learning. I mean, if you take an app like Duolingo, together as parent and child, learn a new language, learn Arabic, learn Turkish, learn French, whatever language. It's so much of fun. Then there's sketching, there's digital photography. I mean, if it's against your values to do photography of living things, take photos of flowers, scenery. It's such a vast field out there. So, I mean, so one is the child using the technology for entertainment, right? Give them
Mm.
some of that, but also use it for constructive things. That's what I'm saying. Teach them how to use it for. I mean, think about something like learning. Technology is such a powerful learning tool, and I think we should have a separate program just on how I personally use my gadgets for my research and my studies. It's a powerful learning tool. Go on Google Earth and travel the whole world with your fingertips and look at different countries and what's going on there. We could carry on talking for hours and hours about it.
So the world is getting much smaller. We can travel without leaving our seat. Absolutely wonderful. Well said, Malana. You know what? Inshallah, we will continue with this once again. It's a very important topic where parents understand that mastering technology is no more a luxury, but an absolute necessity where we know how to guide our children and also for our growth as well as parents, because the world is constantly evolving. And let's face it, the only time that we're not going to learn, we're going to be still, is when we are in that qabr. So seek knowledge from cradle to the grave. We look forward to connecting with you inshallah again and learning more from you. Jazakallah khair for your time and the knowledge that you've imparted. Until then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And that was Maulana Bilal Kathrada chatting with us about parenting in the age of technology. Absolutely important. There are risks, there are pros, there are cons, there's boundaries that need to be set. But you know what? It's what you focus on. So if you're focusing on how can we grow with this, because we've just mentioned how important it is. It's a necessity to learn technology, to master it. Of course, talking about technology, if you've missed this interview and you'd like to follow it, watch it again. It's live on YouTube and Facebook as well. But for now, it's time for a break. When we get back, we'll be catching up with the Al Ansar Shop. So stay tuned for that. Urban Woman, sponsored by